Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're looking forward to FM22. It's just around the corner, and the question always is, what save shall I do? So today I've got some save ideas that keep it interesting, provide a bit of a story, a bit of a narrative, and give you a goal. We know all the popular ones, the journeyman saves, the Park to Prem, where you go from the lowest league in England to the Premier League. There's the Pentagon Challenge, we have to win in each of the 5 top leagues, and they're all great, and ideas you can implement into your save, but I'm going to try and bring a few new ideas, or some less popular, less known ones, to provide a bit of excitement in your game. And also, a lot of these ideas you can implement in different ways depending on your skill level, how much of a challenge you want, and what sort of clubs you want to manage. So number 1, we have Europe or Bust. The idea of this is your main objective is to win in Europe, either the Europa League or the Champions League, depending on what sort of club you're managing. My idea of this is to add some pressure to your saves when you're managing certain clubs, especially in leagues that have a lot less competition and you win the league year in, year out. For example, Ajax, you have Porto, you could have Rangers or Celtic. These sort of leagues where you normally win every year or you only have like one other opposition to beat. This adds a bit more pressure, where you have to win in Europe instead. So for Ajax, it could be the Champions League, Porto could be the Champions League, and then when you these sort of smaller clubs like Rangers and Celtic, you want to win the Europa League, get into the Champions League. You could do it for West Ham, you could do it for Leicester. There's so many different clubs you can do this challenge with. I think this is a really exciting challenge, because if you're taking over a team that expected to win the league every year, or if you're a team that can do well in the league like a Leicester, West Ham, but is unlikely to win it in the first season, for example, this is a good challenge to set for yourself. And the good thing about this is you can adjust the difficulty and the challenge of it, and also use the clubs you like. If you're a Rangers fan, you've won the league now, let's go a step further. Let's go Europe or Bust. Let's go for the Europa League and get it done. Or you could even be a bigger club like a City, a PSG, and set a goal of winning that ultimate European trophy. So I do personally like this challenge. It creates a narrative, puts more pressure on, and it pushes you to go beyond your league to win European glory. The second save idea I like to call the Class of 92. Obviously referencing Manchester United's elite youngsters that came through. You had Scholes, you had Nicky Butt, you had Neville, you had Beckham, and the list goes on. This sort of challenge has been referenced as academy challenges, youngster challenges, wonderkid challenges. And the rules of this is you don't sign players, you only bring through players from your academy. So you're very reliant on it. You probably want to pick a club with good youth facilities and see how far you can get by developing these young players, training them, bleeding them through. It's very exciting. It is challenging because obviously you can fall behind if the youngsters don't come through as you want them to. But ultimately, that is what makes it an exciting challenge. You can set your scouting to look for young players. You can sign young players like 14, 15, 16, maybe 17-year-olds at most, sort of players to get into your academy. And this way you've got them in your academy, you've got good potential, but you can nurture it, bring it through in the first team, and replicate this Class of 92. Again, you can adjust this to the clubs you like and how difficult you want it to be. You could be a big club like United and Chelsea with really good youth facilities, really good youth players. You will have a crop of players there already for the next few years. You obviously have the likes of Hannibal, Mengi, Ethan Laird. Chelsea have always got abundance of young players in their academy as well, and you can slowly bleed these into your team. But obviously as time goes on, then players are gone, and it's all about who you bring in, how well you're training them, how well you bring them in and developing. Or you can be a low profile club and use this to grow your academy, bring through the academy players, and would be a much cheaper, more sustainable way to build this club up. For example, Burton Albion's a really good team to build up a club using the academy because they have 5-star facilities. Obviously that's due to using St George's Park, which obviously the England team use, so it's elite training facilities and they make use of that. So they're just different examples of the extremes you can use. You can be a United and try and replicate the Class of 92 yourself, in the club where it happened. Or you can choose a lower league team and try and use this youth to actually build a club up. Can you get to the Prem using a Championship team or League 1 team or League 2 team using this method? It'd be tough, but that's a challenge and a save idea that can last you a long time. Number 3 is Giant Slayer. The idea of this is you pick a league which has a team that's just dominated by one team, and you slay them. You collect their scalp, you take over, and you essentially slay the giant in that league. So, for example, you have Ajax, you have PSG, you have Bayern Munich, you have Juventus, and there's many more. And the idea is you pick a team in them leagues and you try to overcome them. And the idea is you become the giant killer in that league. And to make this more interesting, once you've done this in one league, you can move into the next and the next and the next and just collect them scalps, kill all the giant clubs across the leagues, create upset after upset after upset, and prove you don't need money, you don't need to be the biggest club, you can beat them all. There's many clubs you could do this with. You could be Feyenoord in the Dutch league, you could be Monaco or Marseille in the French league, you could be Leipzig, Union Berlin in Bundesliga, you could be a Lazio or a Roma in the Italian league. There's many clubs you can do this with. It's just a fun idea, create a challenge. You just create a big target on the top team in that league, and your aim is to overthrow them. But at the end of the day, football, it gets a bit boring if the same team wins year in, year out. So you're there to shake things up, create upsets, and prove your managerial prowess by beating the clubs that have more money, they have better players, but your elite management will overcome it all. A true David and Goliath story. Number 4 is local club. This is a fun idea. All you have to do is go on Google, put in local football team, and the closest one to you play as. This is also a fun idea because it's a club you could support anyway. You know, your local team is probably the one you go to. Maybe they've closed to Salford FC, but you actually go and watch Manchester United. But now's your chance to get that local club near you and see how far you can take them. Some of you might be lucky, you might be near Arsenal, you might be near City, you might be near PSG, you might be near Bayern Munich, but most of us will probably be near maybe League 1 clubs, League 2 clubs, Championship clubs. And it just creates a bit of connection between you and your actual roots, where you live, your local community, and see how well you can bring your local club and how far you can take them. Can you get them into the top league? Can you get them into Europe? Can you win the league with them? Can you win the Champions League with them? It's all up to you. And also it's quite fun because it can change year in, year out. You might move house, you might go to uni, you might be on holiday right now and think, oh, I'll be the closest team to the hotel, you know. So number 5 is Moneyball. Moneyball is essentially buying assets that are undervalued and then selling them when they're overvalued, which means you're always making big profit. And the way this is done is scientifically using certain statistics, which obviously vary depending on what you're looking at. And obviously in this case, it's football. And with stats being drastically improved with the new stats center, there's no better game to start using this on than this one. There's going to be a lot more stats available, a lot more detail. You can customize which stats you want to look at and how you want them presented. So this game is perfect if you want to do a Moneyball challenge. So for example, with a striker, you might look at shots, you might look at goals, you might look at conversion rate. With a defender, you might want to look at the tackle success rate, you might want to look at goals conceded, you might want to look at aerial duels. If you want a ball-playing defender, you might want to look at the passing accuracy, passing range. Loads of stats are going to be available. And using these stats, you can base your signings on. So, for example, when you're one season in, a season's gone by, you may look around you. You may look at the stats of your players. You may look at the stats of other players and think, is this guy doing enough based on the stats? I might want to sell him. I can get more than he's offering me. And when you're looking around for players, you might look at the conversion rates. You might look at the goals that season. You might see you're playing the Championship that scored 20 odd goals. They've got a really high conversion rate. And you might think, he's cheap, he's good, he's scoring loads of goals, he's got a good conversion rate, he's someone to take a risk on. Number 6 is a classic, the takeover. With Newcastle being taken over by the Saudis, it's become very topical, it's become very exciting, and it's finally happened after a few years of umming and ahhing. So now we have a team who's actually been taken over. We haven't actually seen the signings yet. We haven't seen what's going to happen. We haven't seen how much going to spend. But now you can have some fun yourself. Take over as manager of Newcastle. Buy the players you want. Sell the players you don't think are good enough. See how quick you can get on the table. Get into that mid-table. Get into that top 6. Get into that top 4. And then obviously competing for the league. Can you win the cups? Can you win the league? how long will it take you to get into that top four? It's a very exciting time for Newcastle fans. I don't blame them for being so happy about it, but it also provides a really fun Newcastle takeover save. I'm not sure how much is going to be implemented in the game. Obviously, it's only been a few weeks since this happened, and the game's coming out in a few weeks, so not a lot of time to make them adjustments. But I presume they will add this in the game, and if not, you can just use the editor, add some funds into the club, and away you go, having a lot of fun in this. However you want to do it, it's in your hands. Nothing's been written yet, so you can write your own story. Last but not least, we have the Rebuild or the Sleeping Giant. Obviously a classic one that's been around for a while, but I think it's becoming more and more topical. And that feels like there's a lot more clubs, it's a lot more real when you do it now, because Arsenal aren't as good as they used to be. They are really struggling. They're not getting in the Champions League. They're not winning trophies. They're really struggling in the league. You've got Barcelona without Messi now. They're not doing too well in the Champions League. They're not doing too well in the league. You got Real Madrid, who aren't as good as they used to be, losing a lot of players. Varane, Ramos, Ronaldo also went a few years ago. They're just not what they used to be too. So there's quite a few different clubs you can rebuild with now. Or if you wanted a more lower league one, you could use Derby. They're in really bad financial issues at the minute. They're getting point deductions in the league. And if you could really get them out of that situation, rebuild them and get them into the Prem finally, that's a big rebuild in itself. And then obviously you also have the Sleeping Giants, clubs that used to be great who just aren't where they were before. AC Milan, Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, a load of other historical clubs you can look up online if you're not sure of some, and try and bring back to their former glory. However, that is all for this video. Please do like, subscribe and join this community, as there'll be lots more FM22 content coming out. I've got transfer stuff coming out, I'll have playthroughs coming out, I'll have loads of stuff coming out for FM22. So like, subscribe, and I'll see you all soon.